All right, guys, we got some big news for you guys. First up, there is a new Android malware that tries to take your private keys. So you must be careful if you don't want to lose all your crypto. We have crypto DNS, but there's a lot of people actually reporting on this. And yeah, it basically takes screenshots. And if you have your private keys stored anywhere on your device, they can jack it. McAfee, who is now dead, so it's not the guy McAfee, but the company, has discovered a new Android malware called Spy Agent. So if you see Spy Agent anywhere on your platform, obviously it's not very covertly named, so you know it's probably spyware. The software uses optical character recognition, or OCR technology, to scan and extract text from images, a feature that is commonly used across many platforms, including desktops. But this one specifically targets Android. There'll probably be other versions for other platforms as well, but right now we're talking about Android. McAfee Labs outlined how Spy Agent spreads through malicious links sent via text messages. Once the user clicks on the link, they are redirected to a fake but convincing website. Always look at the URL for your websites if that sounds suspicious. Do not click on any links and do not download anything. After you click on the link, it prompts them to download a seemingly legitimate application. Always get the applications from the official site. Look at the URL before you download. However, the app in question contains software that compromises the user's phone upon installation. The malware, masquerading as banking apps, government services, and streaming platforms, requests permissions for contacts, messages, and local storage. McAfee has detected Spy Agent in more than 280 apps, targeting mostly South Korean users. So if you're in South Korea, this is especially important for you. However, if you're not in South Korea, you should still be aware of this Android malware app. It is similar to something in August called Cthulhu Stealer. It might just be another version of that. It was identified affecting Mac OS. So basically, Spy Agent could just be the Android version of Cthulhu Stealer. So if you're looking at Cthulhu Stealer on Mac, it does the same thing. It wants to steal your private keys. And obviously, you're only vulnerable if you keep your private keys somewhere on your device. Obviously, I know a lot of people do keep their private keys on their device because they want a digital backup for a physical. You know, like I keep my private keys physical on a piece of paper somewhere, but I would like a digital backup as well in case, I lose the piece of paper, which is very, very easy to do. Of course, around the same time, Microsoft discovered a vulnerability in Google Chrome that is likely being exploited by a North Korean hacking group known as Citrin Sleet. So I think all three of these hacks are basically started by North Korean groups, and they just might be different versions of the same thing on different operating systems. You notice that one is for Microsoft, one is for Android, and the other is for Mac OS. So, like the one on Microsoft says, this group creates fake crypto exchanges to lure victims with fake job applications that install malware to steal private keys. Although the Chrome vulnerability has been patched, the rise in the number of such attacks has prompted the FBI to issue a warning about Citrin Sleet's activities. So that's where we are right now. Essentially, this is the new one for Android. It uses screenshots to steal your crypto private keys. And obviously, like if you get your private keys stolen, you are in a lot of trouble. And it is called Spy Agent for those of you that didn't catch that. So yeah, please be aware of this. Hide your crypto well. Do not have your private keys on a device. And if it is on a device, please have it on a device that's always offline. An old computer, an old Chromebook. You can just put it in like a notepad somewhere and never connect it on the web so it cannot be accessed. It's probably the best way to basically like keep your crypto safe. Of course, you want to keep your crypto safe because it's worth a lot of money. And you don't want anyone like this to install spyware and essentially drain your wallet with this hack. So the US betting markets have actually scored a huge victory against the CFTC, despite the CFTC's pleas in court. So the courts are ruling for the betting markets. And a lot of crypto people, because they can't lose enough money in crypto, want to use these betting markets on political betting. So US citizens can now reportedly use Kalshi, that's Kalshi, to bet on upcoming election through derivatives after a judge overturned the CFTC's decision. So Kalshi took the CFTC to court and they won. And the CFTC really begged the judge to stop this, but the judge was like, no, people can bet on elections if they want to. So I don't really know if this is going to get appealed or not. A U.S. judge has ruled in favor of the prediction market Kalshi, allowing the platform to offer derivatives for betting on the upcoming U.S. presidential election in November. I do believe there are laws. Like, I don't think Vegas actually has betting odds on who wins the election, at least not like forthright. I'm sure there's like some underground stuff, but there are laws against this. But this is a huge win for betting markets. Variant Fund Chief Legal Officer Jake Chervinsky stated in September 7th, Jake Chervinsky is a notable crypto lawyer as well, post that Kalshi had a huge win, but he would like to see the judicial opinion first. I want to see the opinion before I start dancing on the grave of the administrative state, but this is even more evidence that the best way to deal with regulatory overreach is to file more lawsuits. And this, I think, shatters the perception, especially of the conspiracy theorists that say like government always wins, because the government has actually been losing a lot of these cases, not only in like, crypto and the SEC, but now the CFTC essentially has lost its bid to actually cancel out U.S. prediction markets for the presidential election. Obviously, political betting, especially if the politicians bet against themselves, can be really corrupted. It's like, sports stars aren't allowed to bet on themselves. Obviously politicians shouldn't be able to bet on these markets, but you don't know if they're doing it through third parties. So it is kind of hard to regulate. But ultimately, people should be able to bet and gamble on what they choose. So published by Bloomberg on September 7th, Judge Gia Cobb of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia reportedly ruled in favor of Kalshi, offering products that allow people to bet on who will win the U.S. election on November 4th. The ruling overturned a U.S. Commodity Futures Commission order, which had argued that offering the derivatives would compromise the integrity of the election and that the election gambling is illegal in the United States. And obviously, there is a chance it will compromise the integrity of the election because, like I said, let's say an election official basically to tell someone to split the profits 50-50 to bet against him in the election, and then he just goes on a debate and completely blows the thing up and completely tanks, and then he loses the election on there were favorable odds for him. Obviously, there's a lot of corruption there. Now, I don't know if any politician would do that to just destroy his political career, but maybe if he wanted the money enough, he would. Meanwhile, Nick Tamino, founder of the crypto fund One Confirmation, expressed that this is great news for anyone who believes in having skin in the game as a fundamental aspect of being American. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that because having skin in the game just means you go and vote. And obviously, I wouldn't look at betting odds for political. I would still look at polls more than betting odds because one big whale can bet a lot of money and one politician and it could tilt the odds. But when you go to the polls, everyone has one vote. It's not it's not like Rupert Murdoch has 50 million votes and you have one vote. You might have Fox News and he might be able to convince people using Fox News, but he gets to vote one time just like everyone else. But if he goes on the betting markets, he can bet $50 million against your $1. So wouldn't really look at that. Meanwhile, in more recent, so basically, this particular ruling is obviously a win for the betting markets. I can definitely see some trouble with this, and I can see why political betting is illegal in the United States. But since sports betting is not illegal in the United States, I don't think this actually should be. I don't have too many feelings about this either way, but I'm glad they actually won against the CFTC. So that's pretty cool. Roaring Kitty has returned. Roaring Kitty is the GME guy, created a lot of havoc before, but he came back with a cryptic tweet. Despite the Chewy tokens he's now, I think, promoting this thing called Chewy. So despite Chewy tokens near 30% rally, Gil's cryptic post seems to suggest that he is dropping the Chewy company, not endorsing it. So, this might actually be a pump and dump. He might have pumped it first, and now he's actually dumping. A dog-themed meme coin is surging after the enigmatic return of Keith Gill, also known as Roaring Kitty, the individual credited with sparking the GameStop short squeeze, where he really pwned some funds, but now I think he's just pumping and dumping. After an over 2-month hiatus, Gill returned to social media. If I was this guy, I would just retire because I probably would have made enough money off this pumping and dumping, especially off GME. Returned to social media with a cryptic X post depicting Solana-based meme coin Chewy. Gill shared the below image in a September 6th post. It looks like this is Woody. Actually, this is like Toy Story. The guy is dropping Woody, with a Chewy face. So it might look like he's tossing Chewy, but since he did actually put the Chewy logo on there, people are going to think that he is actually endorsing the coin, but it does not look like he's endorsing the coin. It looks like he's dropping the coin, which could actually go for a big dump. So following the cryptic post, Chewy's price rallied nearly 28% against Solana to trade above 11 cents. And this is obviously a meme coin, so it can pump and dump very, very hard at any given time. Would not buy this because the image, as you'll see here, is very ambiguous. And like many have said, you see this image right here, it could be him more dropping this coin than actually picking it up. And if it's him dropping this coin, you know it's going to die very, very fast. So yeah. He might have actually, like Chewy might symbolize like, pet food. And early in July, he did reveal a 6.6% ownership in online retailer of pet food and other related products, Chewy. So he might actually be ditching the partnership as well. But like I said, we don't really know if he's endorsing or dropping Chewy. So betting on Chewy is a very, very dangerous thing. The image he shared is from the movie Toy Story, like I said, where Andy drops his favorite toy, Woody, signaling that he might actually be dropping Chewy. And of course, Woody has been replaced by the Chewy token logo. And this might actually be signaling that he's going to sell his stocks of Chewy. And if he sells the stocks at Chewy, you know that meme coin is going to dump because, well, that's just how meme coins behave. It makes absolutely no sense because the Chewy meme coin has nothing to do with the actual Chewy company, I don't think. So like him dropping the Chewy company shouldn't have anything to do with the meme coin. But of course, this stuff rides and dies with Roaring Kitty. So if if Roaring Kitty ditches it, it will definitely die. He also suggested a potential GameStop resurgence. Of course, that would be because he's the main reason behind the GameStop resurgence. Shortly after Gill's X post was published, an unknown investor bought $2 million worth of GameStop shares. That might be just him under another name. We know he has a lot of money because he's made a lot of money off the GME thing. So at the end of June, a GameStop investor sued Gill over alleged securities fraud. The lawsuit was dropped after 3 days. This is just like one dude with his opinions. If he isn't on board of GameStop, you're going to have a very, very tough time suing him. So, he's still up to his old antics. I would ignore Gill and Roaring Kitty altogether because I think if you listen to him and you try to follow his moves, you will get wrecked because you're doing so after the fact. El Salvador is actually in profit in Bitcoin after 3 years. That's right. El Salvador marks 3 years of Bitcoin adoption with $31 million in profit. Now, that might not seem like a lot for a country, but El Salvador is not a rich country, and they only bought a couple thousand Bitcoins. So 31 million worth of profit is quite a lot for them. So El Salvador is celebrating its Bitcoin anniversary. Marking 3 years since the country's adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, El Salvador became the world's first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender 3 years ago on September 7th to promote financial inclusion, facilitate more efficient remittance payments, and attract financial innovation. And I think it's become somewhat of a symbol for the crypto world. President Bakuli's decision to adopt Bitcoin made the country a historical digital asset pioneer, according to Alex Momot, founder and CEO of crypto trading platform Peanut Trade. So what he said is El Salvador's experiment with Bitcoin can be seen as a success. The country acted as a pioneer, taking risks and trying something radically new. While it's too early to declare whether all aspects of the reform were successful, it's clear that El Salvador has reaped some benefits, and some benefits it did actually reap, as in $31 million, which is not bad for a country with an economy of that size. They have been DCAing the best strategy into Bitcoin since 2021, and they've been buying 1 Bitcoin daily as part of its adoption plans. And I think they have about 5,300 Bitcoin. So El Salvador bought its Bitcoin holdings at an average of $43,000 per BTC. So as of right now, they're about $1,000 up per $10,000 up per BTC, sorry. So that means they actually have something like $10,000 up. They're like up $10,000 per BTC. So that you can see how much BTC they actually have. So according to Momot, El Salvador's 31 million Bitcoin profit makes the decision a net positive in economic terms, despite the initial criticism. Because initially, when Bitcoin was in the dumps, 15K, Bakuli was very unpopular due to this decision. Well, he wasn't very unpopular. He was always popular in El Salvador, but this particular decision was unpopular. But now it is very popular because he's in profit. And I don't think he's really going to go into not profit again. I mean, I guess he's DCAing, so in the next bear market, it might be unpopular again, but eventually it will go up. So the financial gain further strengthens Bakuli's position as the initiative now appears to be yielding tangible benefits with another layer of validation to his bold cryptocurrency experiment. Obviously, he's trying to boost up El Salvador's economy and trying to make yourself the center of the digital currency world. is going to be a good way to actually do that. So congrats, El Salvador. But other economies haven't followed suit, but I think some of them will. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.